and most of my friends are male.
Say what? Leaders are not no role models.
No me fait riche.
Welcome to Voice of the People. Today's question is, does age matter in a relationship?
Lifespan nan pou fèk love. C'est un limo l'âge. Ou ni pou fèk love ou ka fèk love. C'est si wani love le compagnie qui me kaya oui. Là c'est un limo. Just a lamb.
I don't think age matter. You understand? It's just about the person, getting to know the person. You understand? Because you can be a man up in age and you date a young girl and the relationship works. And you can be a man up in age and you date somebody a age group and it just not work. So it's just left to both personal opinion with that. But for me, I don't think age matter at all.
If I friendly to a younger person, you ask me like that, I don't have a problem with that. I don't know if the person will have a problem with me, but I will not have a problem with him.
Why?
Because God put us together to understand each. You understand? Yeah, do. We have to understand the love. We have to understand the future.
What God gave you have to accept it. Because if it's a man 66 years you have to get married or friendly with, and you 30 or you, that have nothing to do with nobody. It's your choice. And nobody can tell you what to do. You should know what's good for you. And sometimes that's what God sent for you. So they can say nothing about it. And to me, in that days, the young fellas not ready yet. The people in the 60s going up to the 70s more ready than the young fellas. It's just to come eat and go. That's what they are there to do. So that is it.
A couple of years ago, I would say no, but then now I would say yes. The reason I would say yes, I think most times is if you have a choice. Love sometimes don't choose by age. You just choose because it's love. It just happened. But most times if you choose somebody within your age range, what happens? You grow together, it's better. But if there's a huge age difference, like a 20 or 15, at that point, I am not able to do a lot of stuff, and my partner is very young, and I have to deal with my illness and wonder where my partner is, and maybe the partner did not cater for that. You feel like you maybe taking care of your grandma or your grandpa. But however, for some instances, love break boundaries and the person will be there for you throughout. So the key word there is love. But I think if you had a choice, choose somebody close enough. Because at one point I was dating somebody, I was 15 years older. And I say, hell no, I'm not crossing that bridge. Because it was kind of scary. The fact that I'm older, and maybe when I'm not interested in doing certain things, the person might want to do that. And it's about complementing each other. So you need to have that strength to do stuff together, go for these walks together and stuff like that. Somebody will say, yes, there's wheelchairs, but sometimes what happens if you can't afford the wheelchair? So I think sometimes if you have a choice, you can maybe look. There's a certain questions we have to ask when we're dating. I think people ignore it. It's afterwards realizing the person younger, because that's what happened to me. The person looked mature, but then they were 15 years younger. So age does matter for certain persons if you're mature enough to deal with it.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It don't matter with nobody. We got 18, 19, there's somebody 50. It makes no difference. That's life. You make your choice, I make my choice.
It doesn't. A relationship is about two people and understanding. So it doesn't matter what age you are, even if the woman is older or the man is older. It really doesn't matter to me.
Well, the disparity would be if I'm 80 and I have a 40-year-old girl or 20-year-old girl. So age matters because basically one person is going to be growing older faster than the other. And I mean, I would not feel comfortable going out with a 25-year-old girl because I'm 63, right? So what I'm saying, there's some sort of a point where we have to find a balance because like in other countries where you have Muslims or whatever, for them it may be a different concept, but in St. Lucia, probably Dominica, wherever, Grenada, we have a sort of a balance of not more than 20-something years difference. But I think like age does matter because people are more mature and people are more immature and these things, but I'm not the God. I cannot judge. So I cannot say there's an answer to this, but I'm also saying that people should be more compatible in age and in mentality, in education, so it does matter because you don't want your daughter going out with a 40-year-old man and she's 16 years old, right? So we all know it does matter. So I think people should be a little conscious about mating with something closer to their age group.
No, I don't think age matter in a relationship because what happened there, you just have to have respect to people and age does not matter in a relationship.
I would say it depends of the maturity of each person. An adult could be less mature and a younger person could be more mature. It depends.
No, I don't think so. To be honest, I think love has no bounds. And two, I think if you're in a relationship and you're happy, there should be no barrier in terms of age. The other thing is in relationship, if you can take care of your partner, why should age be a factor in it? So no, I strongly oppose persons who believe a man should stick to a woman his age, vice versa, a woman sticking to a man her age.
Age does affect the relationship because it has to do with how healthy the person is. I mean, somebody in their 60s will not be as active, nor would they have the same perception as the other person. So their way of looking at life is differently. The way their bodies work would be different. Well, they cannot party like a young person. So age makes a difference. I don't know why that should be. It's obvious.
No, I don't think age really affects a relationship. Not at all. It's according to the communication, the understanding, the love, you know. That's what really builds a relationship. It's not really about the age. But I myself was in a relationship with somebody younger than me and, you know, we have kids and stuff like that. And we were incompatible, you know. I mean, we once you have communication and respect, that's what a relationship really needs. It's built on respect, communication, and trust. And once you have that, it's smooth sailing.
It depends on the person too, eh? And it depends on if you really love the person and you're really there to support the person no matter what they do. Especially in their goal, if they have a goal, you're there because you're finding like if your elderly lady go and check a younger man, he will not support her goal. Or if a younger guy go and check a elderly lady, not support her goal. So it's all about being there for the person and supporting the person and love and trust. That's the main thing. So I don't really find it matters. Other people say it matters, but to me I don't really find it matters.
No, it doesn't. It all depends on the individual because you may find some young people who are very mature and older people who are immature. So basically it's how you feel with the person and how they make you feel. And as long as the relationship is worth it, then age is not, it doesn't matter.
I do, only it depends on if the person is younger, as long as they're mature. I think the more experiences that you go through in life, I think that builds you up. You can be old and still be immature if you haven't done anything, and you can be young and be quite mature because you've done a lot. So kind of, but not really. I think it's the experience and the maturity that matters most in the relationship.
Yes, I do think it does because as we get older, one stays young, one stays old, and we're not compatible. So I do think age matters.
No, I don't think so. Age is just a number. We can, I would say, we can blend, doesn't matter your age. You can blend once you love the person and the person love you. To me, age doesn't matter.
It all depends on who is younger. And as long as they're comfortable with the age of the person they're getting married to, I don't see they have a problem here. You see, a lot of people tend to think that you should have somebody about your same age, but I don't see that way. If I personally see an older woman and I feel attracted to her and she appeals to me, of course I'll go along. Why not?
The way I put it, if the person you're getting married is, to me, if the person is on the age, to me you should not marry to that person because the person is too young to get married. But on the next one again, age is just a number. in marriage. So if you find the relationship will work and you're almost the same age, they can work it out.
Age, no, it's all about the maturity. I mean, of course, you deal with people, vast age difference. In my case, 15 years difference. So it's all about of the compatibility and, of course, the chemistry. Sometimes older is a little better.
Tradition accepts that an elderly man can marry a younger woman, but it does not accept the reverse. And the person asked me why. I say, when an elderly man marry a younger woman, you can build a family, you can build something together. But when it's the reverse, the woman can have children, the man is tempted by younger, attractive females, etc. So society have never condoned older women marrying younger men. They have always condoned the opposite.
Yes, I think that age matters. It doesn't matter requiring on the consent, but a matter of the age gap with maturity and the level of what you know. So meaning as if a couple years down the line, like 5, whatever. But if that's your preference, then that's on you. But on my preference, I don't think that's a good thing to have.
The age should not be too wide, because if you have a young man getting friendly to an 80-year-old or 60-year-old, that's too wide. So I believe they should be growing together. To me, 10 years apart is fine. But beyond that, above that, I don't think it's fine. So age does matter. It does matter. I believe people should grow together. Especially if you have young people, a young lady getting friendly to an older man, and when nature calls, he is not able to fulfill her sexual desire. What do you think is going to happen? Definitely, she might go to look for a younger man, and it is vice versa. So we have to tread cautiously and carefully in selecting someone we want to spend the rest of our lives with, because at the end of the day we might live to regret it.
It doesn't matter. It is up to the person that figured her type and her, her physical appearance and the way you keep yourself. Other than that, age is just a number. It's just you have to do the good thing, and that's it. Simple.
When love is around, there is no age barrier. That's it.
No, it doesn't matter. It depends on if you meet somebody like younger or older, if the person appreciates you, I think that's what's matter. Yeah, if the person interesting, yeah, I think that's what's matter. And if you and the person can get along, you just need to communicate more and know the person more. I think that's what you need. Yeah, and understand the person.
Yeah, I believe it makes a difference because depending on the age, the maturity of a person may differ, and that can really affect a relationship.
No, because whenever there's love, it could work out. It don't matter about age. It matters about love, not age.
I think age matters in a relationship a lot, because you cannot have somebody who in their 50s, maybe 40s, checking some little girl who's probably just coming out of secondary school. That's not making no sense, because you think about it this way, right? You as a grown man, you going out of your way to talk to a girl who young and think she coming out of secondary school, maybe she's still in secondary school or something. What you doing with yourself? And heck, even if you're a grown man, let's say in your 30s, 40s, 50s, and you're still talking to somebody in their 20s and stuff, yeah, you're both adults, but think about it that way. When you was 10, she was just being born or something like that. So it's not making no sense, you feel me? Exactly, not copacetic.
Of course age matters because, depending on the age difference, it could be predatory. You have groomers, you have a lot of weird fellas. So I think age definitely matters. It also telling you a lot about the person. Because if a young girl checking a man that in his 60s, chances are not because he's looking nicer. So I think, but if both of them are adults and they consenting, ain't nothing wrong with it. Legally. Morally, I don't know about that.
No, because it does not signify strength. I mean, it all depends on the person you're dealing with. You know, it's not about the age, you know. Sometimes you deal with a mature person, which is older, and, you know, they can show you things that you never seen before. You deal with a younger person that is immature, you know, so it all varies. Sometimes the younger person is more mature than the older person, you know. So it varies, so it doesn't really make a difference to me.
Age matters to me. I would not take anybody smaller than me. I want somebody above my age group or same age. Why? It's a lot of reasons because the young boys take them as and the young boys are disrespectful, so you have to know who you're putting yourself with. You can't go and put yourself with Tom, Dick, Harry, and Jones, you know. Or else I'd rather stay without a partner.
No, I think what's important is level of maturity. Maturity does not come with age. So
I definitely think that it makes a difference in a relationship because it could be a difference in your culture, a difference in music and your life choices. Age does matter.
Of course, yes, because you know, when you get married to a young person, when you get old and the person still looks young, they say that's not a good match for them. Sometimes they leave you and go look for somebody their age, you understand? But when you be in the same age with your partner, I mean, it's like, you know, how would say that? You all can relate to each other. I mean, if you have a mole, she has a mole, you all can understand each other, you understand? But when you look so young and I'm looking old, you see, it's not compatible, you understand? Yeah, that's the reason why. That's why we have a lot of divorce in society now, because you find that young people feel he's too old for me now, I better go on with my life and get somebody my age, you understand?
No, I don't think so.
Why?
Well, at the end of the day, happiness doesn't have anything to do with age. So if it is that somebody is 10 years, 20 years your senior, it doesn't make a difference if you're happy. And that's bottom line. Happiness is what matters as opposed to age. And as far as age is concerned, age is societal, whatever you want to term it, in relation to societies who looks at it in relation to that disparity. But at the end of the day, or the bottom line, happiness should come first.
I don't. I'm actually older than him. So I'm like 8 years older than him.
And how's it?
He's a little immature, but he's doing a good job.
What about you?
He says I'm boring.
Yeah, she's boring.
But what makes the relationship okay? You don't think age matters?
I don't know.
Because you grow together. You learn each other, and you grow together and kind of become like who you are to your person because you love them.
What she said.
I think it does not. I think if you're of compatible relationship, you'll be just fine. Michelle?
Yeah, as long as you're of legal age in the relationship, I think it's totally fine.
No, I don't think that age really matters in a relationship, you know. I don't really think that, you know, because I think Adam was older than Eve, you understand? Maybe Eve was older than Adam, you understand? You never know. Age is not really, age is just a concept, it's just a number, you understand? They have lots more other things to that than life, you understand? And big up Big Bites, Ronnie B, come get your hot dogs, guys. I'm telling you, it's really nice. Local juices and CMOS, come get it.
No, I don't think age affects the relationship because it's all about how you live in with the person. When you have love and taking good care of that person, that relationship can go on. Because at a moment of time, you'll have love for each other, so you'll have to do a good life together. Age is just a number, so I don't believe age is affecting our relationship.
I don't think it matters whatsoever. If you love somebody, you love somebody. She's like 50 years older than me. And I just put a ring on it. Look at that. Big old ring, yeah. I'm 25 and she's 57. She doesn't look a day over 58.
No, not at all.
Why?
Because when you love somebody, it doesn't matter because sometimes you could have a 10-year age difference or you can have a 25-year age difference. But sometimes when you just get along and you have the same interests, age doesn't matter.
When you're getting a little older, probably there is something that it could fix, man, you know? But they just have to put their heads together and then things will work all right.
Yeah, it depends, you know. You said it's the different, I would say that, as your mindset. You find people, they are grown and they will be able to relate with that kind of vibe. But if you're not educated and if you're not, I would say it, because it's the education, you know, it's education that inspires the intellect. So you need to be fully educated to make that relationship work, Rasta.
No, not really, because sometimes there people are saying like age matters in relationship. No, it doesn't. It doesn't, because sometimes the person that is for your future could be the right person, and they are looking at the age, and it's not good. But so it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter.
Well, it's kind of ticklish, right? In both ways, because let's say I'm 35 and a young man is 19, you go say they say it's rape. If also a young woman is young and a mister is older, it's also considered rape. But age doesn't really matter. It's about the intelligence, the knowledge, the feeling, the upkeep, and the comfort. Because sometimes you will find a young man your same age, and when you go with him, you'll find disrespect, unfairness, you check. So it's more about where you belong for me. So big up to everybody that have an older spouse or a younger spouse. Big up to all you. But you have to know that. Don't bring no violence to the relationship. Bring God to your relationship and bring a blessed relationship and talk to each other. Age doesn't matter. Big up all you. That is it.
Speaking from personal experience, I think it matters a lot. You might not think it matters in the beginning because you've got your love goggles on, but eventually the age difference, it does appear in different ways, and it appears in different ways in your lifestyle, because as a woman, if you marry somebody older, even if you're a man, vice versa, you will find that that person still wants to do things that you've already experienced. Your music taste will be different as well. Not if there's a 5 years difference, but if you marry someone like 15 years older, your music taste will be different. Your energy levels will be different at a different stage. So, and then if that person has children or doesn't have children, that may affect your relationship. Because if you're an older woman and you marry somebody younger and he doesn't have children, what are you going to do about that? So when you first meet the person and your eyes meet, it doesn't matter. And you think to yourself, love will conquer everything. But do you know something? Love is not on the front of your bills. When you're sitting alone and he's out with his friends, you still love him, but he's not sitting down next to you when you might be looking for a companion. It's the kind of things that you don't think about when you first meet someone, and I am speaking from personal experience. But it catches up. It doesn't matter when you first meet and you're sitting in the bar and you're looking at him, and but then when you're looking down the road, it will matter.
No, age never affect no relationship. We affect the relationship, not the age. Because sometimes you meet up with somebody older than you, and togetherness, you all grow. You meet up with somebody younger, the same thing, you all grow. But it's you, your attitude, change everything.
I think it's into the individual. You know, I don't think society should judge. At the end of the day, if two individuals meet and there's a different age group, and there's an understanding and there's maturity, that's it.
I do think age matters, but it depends on the individual and their mindset. So if they are both compatible in their thoughts, then it shouldn't be. But there are times when if a person is older, they may have older views, and the younger person may not be mature enough to understand where the older person's going. So it all depends.
There's no problem. Age is not a problem, it's the attitude.
No, that has nothing to do with age. Because if you're in a relationship, I find to me, once the person, if you all agree with one another, the relationship goes, everybody, use their brain, No, that has nothing to do with relationship. And with age, sorry. somebody faithful to you, respectable, you're good to go.
It depends on the personage. Eh? There's, as they say, age is not a matter. Well, I don't know. I'm young. I don't know for the rest.
Speaking from experience, I do not think so. The moment the two parties can understand each other, live in good faith and respect each other, that's the most important, respect for each other. I do not think age has a difference, because sometimes you would find an elderly would want help, probably not from the spouse, but from some younger person. I think that is where it should head. Proper understanding and good life and believe in God.
No, because life is, you see, who you love or you want to be, that's what makes you happy.
I think that age doesn't matter in a relationship. It just depends on, it's just where, from good experiences, people have to have each other back and be able to compromise and do the adjustments. Whether it's the older person, say an older person might not know how to use the computer or different little things, and then people could show them how to do it, show them how to WhatsApp, show them how to download, show them how to do different things. Or sometimes even if the older person is at home, the younger person could show them how to run a business online or do something, and then while the younger person keep going on whatever activities going on in their life, and just make a future together. Because the way things are going, love is like fast. People are not loving each other anymore. So sometimes it might take a older, younger relationship to work, And then when push comes to shove, one look out for each other and be able to navigate the life, So that I think the age, it doesn't matter, because when push comes to shove, all of us, we need help, and we're able to, do the daily steps, daily things as we go to be a family and help each other out.
Probably not, but at times when you're 10 or 15 years separate, there's a generation gap and a knowledge gap of what I've learned or what they've learned, and unless you talk it out, there could be a problem. But in general, no.
Nah, it all depends on where you're in your life. You might be older, you might be younger, but if you're not ready to settle down, no matter what age you are, it doesn't matter. So age don't matter, it's all about your mindset when you're ready to do it. That's all that really matters.
No, it doesn't. To tell the truth, it's just the respect. Trust me. You have the respect, you can be 1 year old and 25 years old, that doesn't make no mistakes. Number is just a number. Because I can just write a number on a piece of paper. You understand me? But the respect itself, it brings more than the age. Trust me when I tell you that.
It depends. It depends, because to some extent, if the person is way older than you, I think it matters. I think there's gonna be a lot of manipulation. There's gonna be a lot of you thinking I'm your mother or you thinking I'm your daddy and so on and so forth. But that's why I said it depends. If the person is not that old, then that's okay. But if it's way older, then it's gonna be, you will feel manipulated. You will feel like, okay, I feel like I'm your daddy because you are the age of my father or you are the age of my mother. So that's my take on it, okay? Yeah, but as I said, I'm from Dominica, and Dominica, you've got to visit Dominica. This is the nature island of the Caribbean, the best island in the world.
No, I don't believe age makes a difference in a relationship. I believe if you love the person loves you, but what I would object to is a little child that is like 12 years old checking a man that is like 30 or in the late 20s or 40s. That is unacceptable. But if I'm 43 and I want to check a man that is 55, it's okay. I don't see no difference in that. But children, on the other hand, I don't believe adults should get involved with children. But a relationship is always based on love and trust. And if you love me, I love you. We make it happen. But you must also, and as a woman, always do a background check on a man. You cannot just be with the man. You have to do a background check to see the kind of family he's from, the kind of habits. Is he drinking? Is he smoking? What he does in his past. I know your past doesn't define you, but we must always check to see the people we get involved with, because at the end of the day, we have children, and sometimes we have good children, and then we get involved with the wrong kind of people, and then it reflecting on our children, and certain things happen to our children, and then we have to ask ourselves questions. So we have to find out about the partner we are with, because once you have children, you have to be cautious about that. And as a woman, you have to know who you're getting friendly to or involved with, so that, and it's not every union that is blessed. So if the union is not blessed, you don't stay in that, because sometimes we're looking for people God never sent for us. And then the people that God wants to send for us, the people we are with, they're actually blocking the way for them to make through. So in the generalization I'm saying, if we're looking for somebody, let's just go to God first and ask him, is this the one for me? Let's ask him for signs. Once we see the signs, we go. But despite the age, but I'm not talking about the children. I'm just saying, go to God for answers, go to God to see if that person is right for us.
In my opinion, to me, age is the problem. To me, a man is a leader, and you should be a leader in all form, meaning age and everything else. So you must be my leader. I don't want to watch no man like a little boy. I want to watch you as a man. You are a man, you are a leader. You're supposed to lead. That's my opinion.
It's your heart that really counts, and your mind. It's a difference between knowing the world and knowing God. When you know God, it doesn't matter age. But now the world is different. The world sees a lot different than God sees.
That's a tough question, because if you're 30 and 45, it doesn't matter. But if you're 65 and 80, it might matter, right? You might be looking after your spouse. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it kind of does matter. I think, like a 5 or 6 year difference is probably no problem. But, yeah, if it's 15 or more, I think it could be.
I agree. It seems like the younger years and the older years it matters, but it's the in-between years. So let's say someone's 15 going out with a 25-year-old, that's kind of not good. I don't know, 25 and 35, that's not bad. But then, like my husband says, when you get to 70 and your husband's 80, then it becomes a little bit. So does it matter? In the middle years, it doesn't. That's my answer.
Well, it depends on the maturity of the person, I mean. Because sometimes you grow up and you don't mature, you don't age. So I say it depends on the maturity.
You've been watching Voice of the People. Thank you so much for watching. Tune in next time. Bye.